Time for the 49ers Rush Podcast.
It's incredible all the different changes that could happen in one calendar year. Brandon Aiyuk comes in number 14 on the 49ers roster count now, which is still incredibly high, especially for a player that's going to miss probably half of the 2025 season. But make no mistake, the 49ers have invested in Brandon Aiyuk to be the wide receiver one of the 49ers for the future. We're going to talk contract. We're going to talk the awkward contract holdout and social media craziness, but we're also going to talk about what to expect and when to expect Brandon Aiyuk back, who, man, was a fan favorite, just before this point last year. And, we go on all the 49ers Rush road trips and we give away autographed jerseys. Man, there was a point last year where I could not give away an autographed Brandon Aiyuk jersey at an event because fans just didn't want it. They were very, very upset with how things went. And, the 49ers are not strangers to contract holdouts and trade demands and whatever else. But I can tell you this, not Debo, not Bosa, not Kittle, not whatever. Aiyuk pissed fans off, period. Now, he got his money, and I love to see anybody get paid more than most people out there. I love it. But can the image rehabilitation return to where it was? Because Aiyuk was a fan favorite, and that changed dramatically last year. The injury obviously doesn't help. Injuries are always a bad thing, but he has dropped. His first year on this countdown, 2022, he was number 11. 2023 was number 8. Last year was number 7. Falls to number 14 because of the injury. But Debo's gone. Brandon Aiyuk is the mainstay, and I know a lot of people are like, trade him. When we get to the contract portion of this conversation, you'll realize the 49ers have no way in the world to trade that contract, not only for 2025, even whenever he establishes himself as healthy, but 2026 as well. Brandon Aiyuk's not going anywhere for at least 2 seasons, hopefully longer. I really hope he can reestablish himself as that number 1 wide receiver in this offense, and he's a perfect pairing with Brock Purdy. He wears jersey number 11, 6 foot, 200 pounds. Brandon Aiyuk has 33.5-inch arms. That's one of his special rare traits, is just those long arms, can reach out and pluck the ball out. Only 27 years old. That is huge. So overcoming this tremendous ACL, MCL tear, huge contact injury, catastrophic, dude's 27. So if he comes back at any point this year, he still has a lot of quality football ahead of him. Ran a 4.5 flat, 1.52 10-yard split, pretty damn good. 40-inch vertical, 10.8 broad jump, 11 bench press reps. Going into his 6th season. Came out really, really young. Played high school football at Robert McQueen High School in Reno, Nevada. Wide receiver. He was a DB, ran kicks. First team All-Nevada, all those different things. And he's only the 2nd alum from a Northern Nevada high school to ever be a first-round pick. The other answer, defensive tackle Sean Knight, was drafted by the Saints back in 1987, number 11th overall. Now, his process to get to Arizona State and be coached by Herm Edwards and all that kind of stuff was a process. He had to go to Sierra Junior College in Rocklin, California first, then transfer over to Arizona State. He played 2 seasons at Sierra College. And, man, he balled out there, was one of the most prized JUCO transfers, chooses to go to ASU, which they were kind of a wide receiver powerhouse at the time. Heads over there, played 13 games as a junior for ASU, 33 catches, 474 yards, 3 touchdowns, nothing special. But he was waiting in the wings of N'Keal Harry, who was a first-round pick, to the Patriots, and kind of saved us because the 49ers were going to take N'Keal Harry over Debo Samuel. But the Patriots did the 49ers a solid and kind of saved them from that one. Then his senior year goes out there and just, 1,192 receiving yards, 5th most ever for ASU, and was all over the place. It was just big play after big play after big play. 3.04 yards per route run, first in the Pac-12. One of just 3 receivers in college football that year to have 80-plus yard receiving twice on the year. Amazing returner, did all kinds of things. First team all Pac-12, return specialist, wide receiver, you name it. Dude was just a stud. And he's a California boy. A lot of people don't realize this. He's from Rocklin, California, but grew up in Reno. He's of Cameroonian descent. And he was a 49ers fan since a young age. He even talked about it, quote, "My mom's been a huge 49ers fan her whole life. So that kind of bled into me when I was younger," end quote. And so whenever he got that call from the 49ers, everybody kept telling him that they thought the 49ers were going to draft him. And they took him 25th pick in the first round of the 2020 draft. They traded up to go get him, and they weren't the only team. The Packers were also trying to trade up to go get him. The 49ers kind of beat them to it, and then the Packers ended up taking Jordan Love. Man, talk about franchise trajectories and all those kind of things. Now, the 2020 49ers draft is kind of a mess because you traded back from 13 when Tristan Wirfs and Justin Jefferson were still on the board to get you went for the defensive tackle, Kinlaw, didn't work out, but then they traded back up. So even if that Kinlaw trade was a mess, which it was, the positive was you got enough draft capital and dropping from 13 to 14 to get you back up to jump up to get Aiyuk. So that's there. Play that however you want. Obviously, if you would have took Tristan Wirfs or Justin Jefferson in that first pick, that would have been a home run. What would you have done with the second pick? That's a whole nother, can of worms. But it's always kind of fun to look back. Now, as a rookie, Aiyuk, that was that COVID year that was bananas. And, kind of started right out of the gate because that 2020 was all the injured years, right? You remember that? Right after 2019, 2020, everybody was getting hurt. COVID exemptions, COVID close contacts, all that kind of craziness. But he started 11 games, played in 12. His rookie year, 60 catches, 748 yards, 5 receiving touchdowns. Beyond solid, plus 2 rushing touchdowns. You remember Kyle Shanahan used to let Aiyuk run the end arounds and jet sweeps. You remember the amazing run against the Eagles where he hurdled the guy and all that? He kind of deleted that from his playbook. I wish it would be brought back, but used to be able to use him as a rushing threat. Then in 2021, his sophomore year, played 17 games, started 16, 56 catches, 826 yards, 5 touchdowns. That was the Aiyuk in the doghouse, whatever else. He didn't start week 1. Trent Sherfield started over him, all that kind of stuff. 2022, that's whenever he stepped up. Started all 17 games, 78 catches, 1,015 yards, 8 touchdowns, played over 1,000 snaps, had an 80.3 PFF grade. The separation was there. It was finally time. In 2023, that was his career year. Hopefully it won't be his career year when it's all said and done. 75 receptions, 1,342 yards, 7 touchdowns. And, man, the run blocking was on point. Had an 80.2 run blocking, best of his career. Just was incredible. And he did all those elite numbers on 800 snaps. The year before, he played 1,000, 200 less snaps for 300 more yards. Still not an elite touchdown guy, but a lot of that was because CMC was getting all the touchdowns. And, Aiyuk was a second-team All-Pro that year. Then 2024 happens. Ugly contract negotiations. He's scripting fake videos with other players from other teams, releasing practice footage from other teams, literally doing just like the fake video thing was just so weird to me. Holds in, doesn't want to be there, demands to be traded, says the teams he wants to be traded to. 49ers get an elite offer on the table from Cleveland where you would have got a second-round pick, would have been the first overall pick of the second round, and Amari Cooper. And, he says, I'm not going to Cleveland, whatever else. I would have taken that trade in a heartbeat. I was screaming that at, please take this trade. This is a top 40 pick. It actually would have been pick 33 overall. But the trade goes all the way up, all the way into, right before game time. And, finally gets this stupid-ass contract. Shanahan has to run all the way up the stairs to stop the trade from happening. Says, let's get it done. Let's try one more time. They get it signed. One of the worst contracts in the NFL for any position. I do love people getting paid, but we'll go through that in a second. Finally gets him signed. Then he goes up and has a press conference and laughs and says, yeah, I made it harder than it needed to be. Ha, 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 ha. What the hell, man? Then he goes out there after no training camp, and you got to remember, Brandon Aiyuk was the player of the training camp, offense, defense, the entire team, back-to-back years, 2022, 2023. Skipped all of training camp because of the contract, goes out there and played his worst football of his career. Played in 7 games before tearing his ACL, and 25 catches, 374 yards, 0 touchdowns in 7 games. Played 357 snaps, 74 grade. 2024, those 7 games, was his lowest success rate, receptions per game, yards per target, yards per reception, catch percentage, highest drop percentage, lowest missed tackles forced, lowest passer rating when targeted, lowest PFF score, one of his lowest run blocking grades. Like, I don't care how anybody measures it. 2024 Brandon Aiyuk was not good. Not good at all. Now, would they have been better with him than without him, even at that 2024 pace? Yes, absolutely. But 2024 Aiyuk was not the Brandon Aiyuk you paid for. And maybe it's just the fact that he needs all that time to ramp up and whatever else. But how do you explain the run blocking? Like, where was the desire to get out there and make a freaking difference when you're one of the highest paid wide receivers in the NFL? And let's be honest, Brandon Aiyuk is not a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL, but he is being paid like it. That's going to, eventually age out as more wide receivers get paid. But on October 20th against the Chiefs, always against the damn Chiefs, Aiyuk tears his ACL, MCL during the Week 7 matchup, ruled out for the rest of the season. He's going to miss half the year this year. Now, he hasn't had a lot of injuries, but when will Brandon Aiyuk return? Yeah, Matt Mayoko said he might be back Week 1. I thought that was comical to say the least. My guess is Week 9, November 2nd at the Giants. If I had to circle a date, usually I would circle a home game, but there's a lot of traveling going on at the end of October and November. I think that road game, I think that's probably when, just after Halloween, that's kind of the timetable that I see. Now, positives, Brandon Aiyuk has been awesome at training camp, coaching up, out there working up, hyping up guys, working with this young wide receiver core. He's awesome in meetings, teaching through routes and all that stuff. So it seems like he's back into the fold and participating. Well, why wouldn't he be? He's got one of the top contracts of wide receivers out there. But even though he can't play yet, he is a part. And so I love that. My biggest question is, even if he does come back this year, which I fully expect, remember, he has needed the ramp-up time of training camp 2022 and 2023 to start off so hot. He's not going to get that this year. Hopefully they do not rush him back, no matter how pivotal it is that you need another wide receiver. Please do what's best for Brandon Aiyuk long-term on the health side, because that's going to be best for the 49ers long-term. Do not rush him back, and then you get a Malik Mustafa type thing where he re-injures his ACL. Niners don't need that. Now let's talk about the contract. 4-year, $120 million contract extension. Unbelievable. And no way in the world. The wide receiver market is so inflated right now. Like, I do not. Those contracts are bananas. Brandon Aiyuk is awesome. I think he's kind of a top 10 to 15 wide receiver in the NFL, but he's being paid like a top 5 guy. That's a problem. And you look at his cap hits, not too bad right now. This year, he's got a $9.9 million cap hit. That's fine. Next year, 2026, $15 million cap hit. That's fine. The problem is 2027 and 2028. $41 million cap hit in 2027, $43 million cap hit in 2028. That is bananas, off the charts money. Like, I don't know if there's a wide receiver in the NFL that deserves that big of a cap hit. So the 49ers, when they signed this deal, they 100% did this like, look, we're going to backload this deal, and then we're going to renegotiate and re-extend, like you did with Kittle, like you did with Warner, like you did, that's just the way that they operate financially. But, man, is Brandon Aiyuk ever going to return to what he was? Now, you have 2 years. I talked about how you're not moving on from this contract in this season, 2025 or next year. Listen to these dead cap hits. This year, the dead cap hit, and this is why anybody that talked about trading Brandon Aiyuk after this contract was signed was freaking full of baloney. Either that or they were ignorant to the numbers. He has a $66 million dead cap hit this year. This year. Who the hell is going to take that trade? Why would the Niners do that trade whenever you're only going to save $9 million, and then next year's dead cap hit is $56 million? You are not trading that deal at all. I can promise you that. So all the people that are like, oh, well, once Aiyuk's back and healthy, we could trade that. No, you cannot. Not in 2025 and not in 2026. That would be the dumbest thing anybody could do. Now, after those years, Then you could do an extension or a trade. The dead cap in 2027, $21 million. The dead cap in the last year, 2028, $12 million. Those are reasonable deals that you can kind of swallow and whatever else. Now, the 49ers do lead the NFL in dead cap spending, so that is, kind of a problem there. But you're not moving on from Brandon Aiyuk. He is a part of the long-term maintenance plan of the 49ers offense with Brock Purdy signed, George Kittle signed. You have Ricky Pearsall for 3 to 4 years if you use that fifth-year extension. The Niners never do. And then Brandon Aiyuk. That is a solid base. You throw CMC in there for a couple years. You throw Trent Williams, who said he could play 3 more years if you wanted to. The foundation on offense is built, and Brandon Aiyuk is a core tenet of that. Can he return this year? Can he return to 2023 form? Not 20. We don't want 2024 Brandon Aiyuk. You want somebody that cares and is passionate and plays that way. That is why the 49ers overpaid him. You're hoping you can get that back. Brandon Aiyuk, man, take care of yourself. Don't rush it back. Don't rush it back. Don't rush it back. When you get back, act like you want to freaking be here. And we have seen that in training camp so far. Seems like he wants to be here and be a part of the team. He's posting clips about how easy football is on his social media. He's ready to go. So get healthy, get out there. I want to see 2023 elite separation, elite run blocking, somebody that's passionate and cares and shows up in big-time games. Let's go, Brandon Aiyuk. I know that was a long one. Shout out to Ben who wrote this episode. But, man, when will Aiyuk come back? I'm going to say November 2nd, Week 9 at the Giants, hopefully earlier. But do not rush it. For us in the 49ers Rush team, we'll just keep counting them down.